My name is Yokao Mutonga and I'm the Research and Inventory Manager at Book Bank Trust. Today I will be taking you on a tour of Macmillan Library and its two branches in Eastlands. Nairobi, like other colonial cities of British East Africa, was built for colonial interests. The way the city was divided when it was established continues to be the same today, where the northern and western zones were reserved for white settlement, the southern zones of the city and part of the eastern zone reserved for Asians. And then, interestingly enough, the Africans, who were the workforce of the city, were only allowed to live in one area, which was in the eastern part of the city. The first library is Macmillan Memorial Library, Eastlands branch. This library is centered in a very central place in Eastlands. So this library actually has the most footfall of all our libraries, and it averages 182 library users per day. It caters mostly to young adults, people between their late teen years all the way to early 30s. We have great plans for this library as Book Bank Trust. In addition to the books that we have here, we have also curated programming that speaks to the issues in this area. The second library is Macmillan Memorial Library, Kaloleni branch. Kaloleni is my favorite library just because of the history that it holds. We are walking into an area that was built in 1948 by Italian prisoners of war. This neighborhood is unique because it was based off Sir Howard Ebenezer's Garden City concept, which basically was trying to rethink how cities and neighborhoods can be built in ways that are not cramped and ways that create a particular type of person. This library here at Kaloleni is mostly for a children's audience, so we have found that many of the users who come here are quite young, until 12, maybe 15 years old, and many of them are actually brought here by their parents. And something else that's very interesting about Kaloleni is, outside of the beauty and uniqueness of the neighborhood, is the social hall, which holds a very important place in Kenya's history. This social hall in particular became a place where the fight for independence through trade unions was agitated for. So this place would hold 6,000 people at a time discussing about how they were going to agitate for the freedom of the country. We have now completed the first set of renovations for the Kaloleni Library, and the next step has been getting the books in the library that the users requested, and will be open to the public once COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. The final library is Macmillan Memorial Library, main branch on Banda Street. This library was built in memory of Sir William Northrop Macmillan, who moved to Kenya with his wife in 1904. He was an American man who was very wealthy and moved here because he was looking for the dreams of the Wild West. Macmillan's love for lions went a bit deeper than most, and he hunted many lions when he lived here in Kenya on his farm in Juja and Eldonyo Sabuk. He is actually known to have kept a pet lion on his farm. And this is the main entrance of the library. The librarians sit on the right, and over here you can see Macmillan's bust and the two tusks that have lived in this library for years. We're now going to the children's area, and when children or library users are not in it, Book Bank holds their events there. I will now take you down to the basement, which is a bit musty and dark. This is where the administrative offices of the library are, so the chief librarian's office is inside there, and it's also where we store all the old newspapers and gazettes and county minutes and photographs. A few years ago, the library flooded and all these archives were moved to a room upstairs. I would like you to take notice of the 3 paintings of King's African Riflesmen. These paintings were all done by the same artist, William Coswell, but we noticed that one of them is bigger than all the others, meaning that this soldier had a a higher rank than the other 2 soldiers. This reference room holds many first editions and paintings of Macmillan's family and friends. We have first editions of Roosevelt's Winning of the West. We also have paintings of Macmillan's parents, Carnegie. In 1931, when the library was opened, this room boasted the most expansive African collection on the continent. But one thing to note about it when it was opened was that there were almost no African authors in here. This room also contains many first editions. At the same time, it also contains books which are very racist in nature because of the time that they were written and how the people who wrote them considered African subjects. Here is an King's African Riflesman who was probably carved just after the First World War. He's quite old, he's seen life, he's broken in a few places, but we love to keep him here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Nairobi. My name is Jacob Ananda, Chief Librarian, in charge of Macmillan Library, Kaloleni Branch Library, and Makadara, famously known as Eastlands Library. Cumulatively, Book Bank Trusts and the Nairobi City County has been able to improve the lives of the youth by engaging them through labor, through internship, and being able to, in future, employ them to impact the social economic livelihoods of the residents. So tonight, I want to welcome you again. Feel free and get to know that service to humanity is service to God. Karibuni sana.
Thank you, Jacob, for that welcome. Good evening, everyone. My name is June Gashui. I am a performing and recording artist, a singer-songwriter, a thespian, and an intellectual property and entertainment lawyer. I am passionate about all things related to the law and the arts. And unlike some of us, I have been fortunate to find the perfect blend of the two. And even as I continue to pursue my artistic pursuits, with some level of great success, if I do say so myself, I have also been able to share my in-depth knowledge on intellectual property with my fellow creative entrepreneurs. I call them this because it is about time that we earned a living and made money from our art. And everything that we create must be protected and must be monetized. The two founders of Bookbank have a passion for the creative arts akin to my own. They have devoted their professional lives to finding ways to make sure that more art is created, is published, and is distributed, and that people can make livelihoods from it as well. This night is our little way of asking you to share in our dream and preserve this little part of our culture for future generations. Look at it as a beautiful and significant contribution that you too can make. Every little counts, and this dream truly becomes a reality if everyone does their little part. We'd like to ask for a moment of silence for those that we've lost this year due to the pandemic. Thank you. Please connect with us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our handle is @thebookbunk. And for tonight, we are using the hashtag A Night at the Library. That's hashtag A Night at the Library. So if you dressed up like I did, or you have a wonderful meal, or you have people watching this with you, please take a couple of selfies and engage with us on our social media platforms. We would love to hear from you. So why are we here? We send our heartfelt condolences to everyone who has experienced loss this year. In a year that has been fraught with the difficulty of COVID-19 and its particular restrictions, well, we are grateful at the Book Bank because some of the work on Nairobi's most iconic public libraries has actually continued to make a positive impact. As you will discover in the course of this evening, this has been an incredible year for Book Bank and our library communities as well. The goal of this event is to raise the resources and support needed to ensure that we can continue this essential work. Tonight, we have a wonderful lineup of entertainment and information for you. There will be a virtual tour of the Macmillan Memorial Libraries. We will also hear a keynote from the founders of Book Bank, showcasing the incredible gains made this past year. A word from the Sharjah World Book Capital, who have been a key partner this year. A theatre showcase, particularly one that I am looking forward to, from Walam Sisterhood, which honors the highest ranking and last surviving field marshal from the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, a freedom fighter who swore that she would not cut her hair until Kenya had found true freedom. We also have an ongoing art auction over at www.bookbank.org and a digital raffle with loads of exciting giveaways. Finally, we have an opportunity to purchase a one-on-one session with local and international thought leaders and luminaries, also at bookbank.org. Please head over and check out the website and see what's being offered there. And if you are watching in from Nairobi and would like to order your dinner with Uber, use the promo code BUNKEATSKenya for a discount. To our partners and our sponsors, we want to thank you for the support. This event would truly not be possible without you. Please meet our incredible partners. Last year, the inaugural gala event raised just over 3 million Kenya shillings. That's about 30,000 US dollars. Our goal tonight, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Is 5 million Kenya shillings, about 50,000 USD. And we believe that it is possible and we can do it with your help. Now, I would like to introduce two amazing ladies to you. They are the founders of Book Bank. Wanjiru Koinange is a writer based here in Nairobi. Her debut novel, The Havoc of Choice, was published and released, and it is based on the events surrounding the 2007 Kenyan general elections. Her co-founder, Angela Washuka, is one of Kenya's leading publishers of African literature. And she is also one of the principals at Book Bank who leads the partnerships and other efforts for our flagship project, the complete restoration of the Macmillan Memorial Libraries, Kenya's second oldest library, for those of you who didn't know. And of course, two of its branches in Kaloleni and Makadara. Welcome, ladies.
Wanjiru, do you remember our first board meeting in 2020 and all the plans we had?
I do. Oh my goodness, it was such ambitious plans. Yo.
I was looking at them again the other day because it's been an unprecedented year. And I was trying to kind of gauge where we've landed after all the shape-shifting we've had to do.
Shape-shifting. That has got to be the word for this season. I don't think we've changed our budgets on our plans more times than we have this year. I think we must be like on version 89 of those budgets. But I think, to be honest, my biggest heartbreak about this year has got to be programming. We had such incredible plans for HIPAA Jam this year.
Best laid plans.
But alas.
Hello, COVID.
Hello, COVID. Hey.
But the library closures were good for one thing, and that's that we were able to work on the physical restoration of these spaces at a pace that was incredibly fast because there wasn't anyone coming into the libraries.
Yep. And even if we couldn't host events this year, all of the 23 odd events we hosted last year, all of that shaped what the space looks like now. So in a sense, they weren't really wasted.
And I remember the last time actually that we connected with people in person.
Oh,
it was a community engagement session
yeah.
at the Kaloleni library.
I remember,
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Back in February.
Oh my gosh.
And it was incredible because we got to talk to would-be users who were there representing themselves and representing their kids about all the plans that we'd had. We'd had feedback sessions with them before, and they'd come back in February to kind of look at what the final plan looks like.
Yeah.
And it was incredible for me too because that's where we connected with all the 28 people who are Kaloleni residents who ended up working on the site.
Yep. And in 2020, to be able to create jobs, that is one kind of big win. And our partners are the reason this is possible. We haven't lost even one night of sleep because of construction work, because we've had a really supportive partner, a really an all-round wonderful partner. Link Kenya, thank you for fielding all of our requests to draw and redraw and redraw these libraries.
Your favorite thing?
Yeah, I'm like, can we see a render, please? We need a render. The International Publishers Association and Dubai Cares, who not only gave us money for the rebuild, but shipping us a whole lot of books.
A whole lot of
that
books.
Are on their way to Nairobi now. Thank you to National Bank of Kenya and our day one partner, the Nairobi City County, as well as Textbook Center, Talent Carpet, and of course, the residents of Kaloleni, who have held our hands as we deliver this restoration.
Let's show you a little snippet of the Kaloleni magic that we're talking about.
Yes.
Kaloleni is one of those really, really special places in Nairobi that has such a huge role to play in the shaping of Kenya's politics and history and identity. The social hall was where the results were announced of the first Kenyan parliamentary election. And there's this famous photograph of Mwai Kibaki, Tom Mboya, and Jomo Kenyatta literally leaping into the air in celebration of the results that came back on that day. So really kind of iconic place. If you look at Nairobi in the 80s and the 90s, when there was complete disinvestment in public spaces, and so the kind of decay and falling into disrepair that we see, it's something that's probably happened in the last 3-4 decades.
Book Bank was founded in October 2017 to restore some of Nairobi's iconic libraries. The first time we walked into Kaloleni, we were immediately struck by its impact and potential. You can see how popular it was, despite the fact that it hadn't been given any love in decades and decades.
Right in front of it, there's a whole field that a lot of kids from the area play in. Felt super connected to the community surrounding it. We thought it would be really good to just focus on the library through programming. We started to see immediately that the users were mostly children. We started to utilize the social hall next door with small gatherings for women. We'd put on film screenings there. Sometimes we'd have events that 600-700 children would show up at.
We had all of this great data, and it gave us a really good sense into who is using the library and what the community want to see from this space. So we took this data and made a case to funders and partners to support the architectural restoration as well as the programs that we want to see continue in these spaces. National Bank of Kenya came on board to support the architectural work. Textbook Center came in with some shelves as well. We won this prize called the African Publishing Innovation Fund that is powered by the International Publishers Association and Dubai Cares, and that also supported the architectural work. Week one of 6, maybe.
Of 6, yeah.
And it's going according to plan. They're putting in the roof. Taking down the roof.
Taking down the roof. There we go.
The iron sheets so that they can.
Construction. We love to see construction happening.
Such a moment, man.
Week 1. People from the neighborhood came and signed up to do all sorts of jobs. And we're really proud of the fact that we're able to guarantee livelihoods, albeit for a short time, for 28 people who live in Kaloleni.
That rebuild has completely 100% kind of embodied the soul of Bookbank. We did the groundwork. We've enriched the community. We've taught skills. We've had a really good partner. It's been relatively simple. And then 20 days in, we are faced with shut down because of Corona. Hello. It's been about 2 weeks since I've been on site. And this is probably one of our last site visits because they're done. Thankfully, in those 20 days before lockdown, we had worked on triple time. So by the time we were getting hit by lockdown, it was when we had to be putting in tiles or doing in bathroom fixtures, which ideally needs one person a day. It's just so surreal to see that building look like it belongs in the 21st century.
Words may not be able to describe what I feel because it's a new lease of life. There is now room for us to be able to work and to be able to serve.
Our work is based on congregating people in these spaces. So the possibility actually that you've got to completely change your approach was overwhelming at first, to be honest. It's a crazy time, but it's also a crazy time for everyone.
There's a container of books sitting at the port. The books can't get here because of COVID. I really hope that we don't lose this. Our grant funding is so project-based that if you're not running any projects, you can't justify salaries. We just made the call to do whatever we can to keep people paid and keep their livelihoods going. This is just a first library. There's 2 more to go, and then who knows how many after that.
It's been a massive miracle, to be honest, to be able to say that we have completed the construction work that we committed to in Kaloleni. While we celebrate that, we are at a risk of falling back in terms of our progress if we're not able to keep the team going. So we're really appealing to you to please help us continue this success and to be able to replicate what we have done in Kaloleni elsewhere.
So we finished Kaloleni and the restoration work there, and what should have been a moment of joy and celebration was suddenly quite panic-filled because we realized that we may have to stop. You see, the way that our work works, if we don't have any active projects, we can't really pay people. And to be honest, I wasn't ready to stop, and you weren't ready to stop, and stopping just wasn't an option.
It just really wasn't an option.
No.
And we were quite fortunate to have a partner who understood that.
Yeah.
The Sharjah World Book Capital agreed to reallocate some of the funding that they had pledged last year to the remodeling of the Eastlands Library in Makadara. It was very important to us that we complete works on those 2 branches in Eastlands.
We've learned so much about construction work. Our Thursday morning meetings at the site have become the highlights of our week.
Yes.
I know more about asbestos and its removal and disposal than anyone else in this room, I am sure.
Yes, you do.
I know about cables and oh my gosh, data and wood stains and sewer systems
and lighting.
Yes. And all of these things that I had no knowledge of in the beginning of this year. And we've not only remodeled and expanded this library has honestly expanded us as well.
My name is Badur Al-Qasimi. I believe that libraries are the soul of any city and any nation. They're the backbones of civilization, the guardians of our past, and the keys to our future. No wonder that all great cities throughout history were known for their public libraries. Libraries are not just a repository of books. They are really the foundation of learning and a welcoming hub for the entire community, inviting people to dream and find others to share their dreams with. Libraries are important partners in the fight against illiteracy. They are also important partners in promoting a culture of reading and intellectual curiosity, both of which are important for any nation seeking enlightenment and hoping to leave its mark on the human civilization.
This year has also taught us so much about the importance of these libraries matching the digital possibilities of Nairobi. So take you back to this time last year. In December, Siokao Mutonga and her team had just completed cataloging all the items that are housed across the 3 branches of the library. So we're talking about the Macmillan Memorial Library, Kaloleni Library, and the Eastlands Library in Makadara. And all of these items added up to a total of 137,705.
You have the exact number?
Yes, it was a huge undertaking.
It was.
And quite a proud moment.
So many stickers.
Yes. And so in November, just last month, we began the process of digitizing the most fragile of these. And we're looking at photographs dating back to 1880, and we're digitizing that collection all the way from 1880 to 1950.
What is that, 70 years?
Well done.
5 marks.
We're also looking at newspapers. I think the oldest one that we found is from 1906. So we're digitizing newspapers from 1906 to 2010.
And that would be 104
years.
I'm
That's
on
a
a
mighty
roll.
long time. And we are having an incredible time learning from and working with Chao Tayana and her team from African Digital Heritage. She really is the queen of digitizing cultural artifacts.
She is.
And we'd like to say a very special thank you to the British Council as well for funding this aspect of our work.
Yep. Another thing that we're doing with this catalogue of 137,705 books that Mashika just referenced is reading. Reading is what we're calling the process of sorting through these books to determine what stays and what goes. It doesn't make sense for us to throw away everything, but also didn't make sense for us to keep anything. So this year, our interns have been working remotely to read through the collection and find out data about them, about the collection, who wrote the books, when did they last leave the library, and I have a bit of a quiz for our viewers today. So if you're watching, would you like to guess how many of the books that were in the Kaloleni Library were actually written by African authors? So you can connect with us on social media. We are social on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And let us know what you think about that number, how many books that were in the library before we remodeled it were actually by African authors. And as I mentioned, we're at the Book Bank on social media. And for the evening, we're using the hashtag A Night at the Library to connect with all of your lovely posts. So please talk to us and let us know. Another thing we're doing that is probably my entire highlight of this year has been the library ecosystem research
Your
project.
eyes literally light up, Shiro.
I like research so much. I really love data. And that's the thing, when we started this work, you remember, we couldn't find a list of where the libraries are in this country. We know they're there, but we didn't really know where they were and what kind of collections they housed and who was running them, who was resourcing them. So in August this year, we hired 6 interns and we gave them 2 months to identify as many libraries as they could within the Nairobi metropolitan area. The goal is to expand this research, but for now, we are making this data present in the Makadara Library. You can probably see on your screen a work in progress of all of the libraries we've identified. Can you look at all of those libraries? Can you see all those libraries?
All these palaces for the people.
Oh, I see what you did there. Smooth.
What Wanjiro is talking about is a brand new podcast that is co-hosted by us, that is set in the present day Nairobi, and that uses the restoration of these iconic libraries to explore Nairobi's history, Nairobi's culture, and to dig back into the past. So check it out. It's called A Palace for the People, and you can listen to a trailer now.
In Nairobi, in the center of the city, there's a building.
It's this grand building, quite majestic, and very juxtaposed to the buildings around it. And the very first thing that you see are these 2 gates, painted black, that have a chain on them.
If you go through the gates, there are these big marble steps and pillars which nod to the time that the building was put there. And then you see these beautiful wooden doors.
And right at the top of that, there's a glass pane with the letter M in gold for Macmillan.
And through those doors is a journey into the past. I'm Wanjiru Koinange.
And I am Angela Washuka, presenting A Palace for the People, a brand new podcast lovingly crafted in Nairobi.
Remember that target that I mentioned at the beginning of the night? Well, here's another reminder of all the ways that you can help us hit that sweet spot. Guys, it's only 5 million Kenya shillings. See, I am prophesying that this is easy and attainable. Well, you can buy art from our online auction. Some of the featured amazing artists are April Kamunde, Emily Odongo, Dennis Muragori, Patrick Mokabi, Maggie Otieno, Peter Elungat, and Cyrus Kabiro, who I've just heard got signed on by the Met. You can also purchase the one-on-one sessions with some of the thought leaders who are artists and entrepreneurs, and you can have amazing conversations with the likes of Emmanuel Jal, Brian Babu, Sharon Mundia, Chef Alexander Smalls, Mudhoni the drummer queen, Sonal Haria, Atemi Oyungu, John Allen Namu, and other luminaries such as myself. You can buy a raffle ticket to win several gifts, such as an autographed copy of Wanjiru Koinange's debut novel. I hope you've already bought it and read it. Free Pilates sessions, golf lessons for those of you who have been home for a while and need to be able to look as hot as I do in this dress. You also have a F1 simulator at the Village Market for the guys who are wondering what Pilates is, a portrait of yourself or a friend by Patrick Kinuthia, brunch for two at Pan Asian Yao, and much, much more. And finally, you can donate cash via www.bookbank.org. We accept cash, credit cards, debit cards, M-Pesa, checks, wire transfers, you get the hint. Or you can set up a monthly recurring payment. Donations are tax deductible for those of you paying in from the US or the UK.
People are truly at the center of our work. The Kaloleni Restoration Project gave jobs and livelihoods to 28 people from the area. And the hope is to be able to employ those people once the library reopens as groundskeepers, as landscapers, as janitors. So far, the work at Makadara has employed 53 people and counting, and the goal here is the same, to give them full-time employment as the people who maintain and care for these special spaces. And that's why events such as these ones this evening are so, so important.
They really are. They really are. And the incredible support that we get to do even some work that we didn't anticipate doing.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, back in June, with the announcement that school closures would be extended to January next year, we wanted to be able to bring the experience of the library to its intended users. So we got our team together and we put what we were calling care packs together.
Yeah.
We were invited actually to take part in this challenge called the Ubuntu Lab Challenge.
Yeah.
And we put all of these things together into bags for school children who obviously are not going to school, are not able to go to school, and not using the libraries, and who have told us in terms of their feedback that they're also facing barriers to learning because of not always having access to the digital world.
Yep.
So we put together 200 packs and we distributed these all across Kaloleni. And thank you so much to our partners. Textbook Center made such significant contributions towards this with learning material. We had ASON's group as well. We had some individual donors. Thank you so much, Teresa Bagaya, for supporting this, and also to Godfrey Munira for his support as well. Which reminds me, we're doing a second round tomorrow.
Yeah, so we need to wrap this party up.
We'll be celebrating Jamhuri Day in Kaloleni all day tomorrow by doing a second distribution of these care packs.
Yep. And the ecosystem research I spoke about just now is also supported by an incredible team of interns, and the digitization work that we're doing with all of these photographs and newspaper collections, the goal is also to make those accessible to everybody in the city who needs to use that material.
And speaking of material, another lesson that we've picked up from this year is the importance of offering digital programming.
Yep.
Which isn't something that we had kick-started yet. It was something that was still in the kind of planning phase for us. But we're also learning very quickly to shift our focus. So we can offer what we were offering in person in these libraries online. So from next year, expect a lot of storytelling for children.
Yes.
Expect a lot of the physical world coming to your screens, what you would basically be otherwise able to access
From the
in
physical
person.
spaces. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Are you?
I'm very excited.
All this incredible work that you have just heard about is made possible by generous donations from individuals and organizations all around the world. Now, just a reminder of our target tonight. It's only Kenya shillings, 5 million or 50,000 US dollars. So buy the art, donate, get those raffle tickets, get on the website and start bidding for the art on auction right now. For more information on Bookbank's specific needs or to speak to someone about how you can support this organization, visit bookbank.org or email us at hello@bookbank.org. That's hello@bookbank.org. Now, we know that this has been an incredible, difficult year for most industries, but particularly the arts industry. So we thought this would be an amazing opportunity to share with you just some of the ways that you can support Kenyan artists this year and in the years to come. Some of the things that you can do is purchase their work. We have a lot of art on auction tonight, as you probably have already seen, and some of it is right here next to me. But this city also provides a host of options, from the Maasai Market, which I'm sure we have all frequented, to some of the galleries in this city. You can attend virtual shows and donate there. You can hire photographers. It's been a hard year for all of us, so what better way to capture some of the joy in our lives? You can subscribe to music streaming platforms, and there are a lot of them now coming out of Africa and the world, and buy the music. Go to the cinema, purchase future performances, or the simplest one of all, follow them on social media and share when you hear about amazing things that these artists are doing. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance to do something extra in addition to what you're donating to us. Support the Kenyan artists as we move forward.
So we have been able to do an incredible amount of work this year.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah, completely. And there's absolutely no way this would have been possible without the support of the most incredible team in the world. And tonight we'd like to introduce you to them.
We will start with our first ever team member.
Yep, number one.
Number one, numero uno, who actually runs our world.
All of it.
And does an incredible job doing it. She heads up our programs and events as well. She's the queen of our admin department, Ms. Marianne Wamoyo.
And then there's our resident queen of fact-checking and the leader of our research and inventory interns in our whole department, Ms. Siokao Mutonga. Siokao has the most intricate attention to detail of anyone I've ever met, and it's been a joy to watch her grow in this role and to work with her as well.
You know why that is?
Why?
She's an anthropologist.
Yeah, we have a thing about anthropologists at Bookbank. There's plenty of them in these streets.
There's an incredible also amount of work that goes into garnering the support that we need to make this work possible.
So many proposals.
So many proposals to write, so much convincing to do. And the person that does all of this is Ms. Seha Maktaf. Seha heads up our fundraising and business development and puts hours and hours into convincing people to buy into the idea of this work. Asante, Seha.
And then there's Jacob. Someone we have fondly come to refer to as our third musketeer. Jacob has been part of this journey from the very beginning. He held our hand, he opened doors for us, and he and his team have been incredibly supportive in guiding us down these corridors of the libraries. To Jacob and his incredible team at the Macmillan Memorial Library, asanteni sana.
And yes, of course, there's also Belinda Tati.
Yes.
One of the people actually that none of you ever get to see because she's always behind the screen.
Yes.
She designs every single thing that we put out, and she does an incredible job of making us look good.
Yep.
And Benjamin Mutuku as well, who crunches all our numbers and makes our Word and Excel sheets make sense.
Yeah, he does. This is our board, our leadership, our guidance, our support system. Ms. Waringa Njonjo and Brooks Washington, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for your stewardship.
We have the most incredible multimedia squad, Circle and Square Productions, who actually handle every single bit of filming that we have ever done since inception,
Yeah.
and puts evidence of our work together in that way.
Yep.
Christopher King and Maya Leko, thank you so much. And of course, there's May Francis, who is producing the podcast that you just listened to a trailer of. Thank you, Maeve. And of course, there's Paul Karaoke Monene from Quaint Photography, a photographer that has been documenting all our work since the very beginning.
And even before.
Yes, actually, Asante Sana, Paul.
Our team is growing, so here is to making lots more magic in 2021.
Well, we hope that you can already start to feel some of that magic, and we hope that you are enjoying a night at the library. So we want you to give. Very simply put, this is your opportunity to play your part because you want to, because it's significant, and because it will make a difference. So you can buy art from our online auction. Some of the featured artists also include Yasir Ali, Richard Njogu, Samuel Juguna, Patrick Kinuthia, Z Pitt, and many, many more. You can also purchase the one-on-one sessions, and some of the people you can have conversations with include award-winning chef Alexander Smalls, who is also an opera singer, overachiever, Index 1, for those of you who know, you know. You can also speak to Emmanuel Jal, Brian Babu, Sharon Mundia, Mudhoni Drama Queen, Atemi Oyungu, and many, many more. You can also donate cash via www.bookbank.org. We accept cash, credit cards, checks, debit cards, M-Pesa, wire transfers, and you can also set up a monthly recurring payment. If there's a way that you can send us money, we will receive it. If you are making donations in the US and the UK, those donations are tax deductible. Finally, continue engaging with us and connect with us on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages. Our handle is @thebookbank. And of course, tonight we have been using the hashtag A Night at the Library. That's A Night at the Library. So keep talking to us, and we really, truly hope that you are enjoying. Go buy those raffle tickets and send some cash. We're waiting. Go do it now. Go. Now, right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this work is not government alone. It belongs to the people of Kenya. And in that regard, I would like today to recognize two exceptional young women, Angela Washuka and Wanjiro Koinange, founders of the Book Bank, who have adopted and transformed 3 public libraries, Makadara, Kaloleni, and Macmillan. And their restoration model focuses on transforming libraries to community, empowering, and network spaces where the residents of Nairobi can access co-working spaces, legal advice, tax education, as well as literary materials. Book Bank has also embarked on the physical renovation of these libraries while preserving and enhancing their historical integrity. And it is my hope today that more citizens will draw inspiration from Washuka and Wanjiro to engage in endeavors of lasting impact for our country.
Weaverbird is a musical inspired by the life story of Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. The archives that Macmillan Memorial Library holds do not tell the story of the women who fought for our freedom. In Field Marshal Muthoni's words, it is women who made it possible for independence to exist here, but they are not seen because no one is telling the truth about them. To create awe for a Kenyan woman and share her story in a library whose records do not honor our history in full is an apt way to reflect on the freedom on the eve of the day that marks Kenya's independence, Jamhuri Day. The showcase will share a work in progress that honors the highest ranking and last surviving Field Marshal from the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, a freedom fighter who swore that she would not cut her hair until Kenya had found true freedom. Her hair is still not cut. This in-development work is part of the Nairobi Musical Theatre Initiative. Walam is a collective of 4 Kenyan women who came together to honor Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. Wanja Wohoro is an indie soul singer-songwriter, painter, writer, and multi-instrumentalist from Nairobi, Kenya, and Sydney, Australia. Her debut album, Matriarch, is a creative endeavor telling the story of contemporary womanhood through a personal lens. Since its release, it has garnered a great deal of positive attention, including making Wanja Apple Music's Africa's favorite new artist in October 2018. Laura Ekumbo is a Kenyan-born, Nairobi-based performing artist and writer. She has performed poetry, acted, sang, danced, spoken and hosted events on over 30 stages in 4 countries around the world. Alea Kassam is a Kenyan feminist, storyteller, writer, and performer whose work explores narratives from the margins. She is wildly experimental and loves to play with ways in which people experience story. Anne Mora is a Kenyan feminist writer, editor, and performer. She is the M in Lamb Sisterhood. Her writing can be found in Catapult, the Meridian Journals, The Elephant, The Wide Margin, and other platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, Walam.
We are Laura Ekumbo, Alea Kassam, and me, Anne Mora, with our collaborator and composer, Wanja Wohoro. This is a staged reading of our work in progress, Weaverbird, the musical. Brought to you by the Lamb Sisterhood, a story company that makes African women the center of the universe. Today, our memory keepers are played by Laura, Alea, and Mora, and our truth teller is Wanja. I will also be reading the stage directions, and Wanja will sing all the vocals. Setting: 3 a.m., a Nairobi balcony. Below it, Kirinyaga, an eternal, ethereal forest where memories, moments, and beings come to life. As the memory keepers imagine, the forest paints the scene. Showtime. Lights up. On the balcony are the 3 memory keepers, women, enderas, in the depths of a writing spell. Paper, bottles, and biscuit wrappers are strewn everywhere. Enter the truth teller, guitar in hand. Her voice is one they can feel, like you'd feel the wind. She carries a truth that goes beyond words, guiding the memory keepers on their long journey to find the story that must be told. The forest comes to life and shows women ululating and coming together. They dance.
One day, 3 women came together to tell of the women from before. They ululated together, memory keepers with stories to restore. And they'd sing, ooly, 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 ooh. Do you remember? And they'd sing, ooly, 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 ooh. Do you remember? Do you dare to explore? One day, 3 women went on a journey to find a woman long forgot. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima, her story so long, so wild, so tall. They fought to find their words together. They fought to find the song and prose. A field marshal, Muthoni wa Kirima, her name, too long, too wild, too tall. And she'd sing, ooly, 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 ooh. Do you remember? And they'd sing, ooly, 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 ooh. We are your memory keepers. One day, 4 women came together. One was me. We wrote a story, a truth too long hidden of this woman. Now her tale you can never ignore. 'Cause we'll sing, ooly, 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 ooh. Do you remember? Oh, we'll sing, ooly, 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 ooh. You are the memory keepers. We all sing, ooly, 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 ooh. We have to remember. We all sing, ooly, 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 ooh. We are the memory keepers. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima.
On the balcony, the memory keepers are agitated. Hours pass, then days, even seasons shift. They grow more distressed, unable to find a way to tell this story. The forest reveals their thoughts, glimpses of a poem, shapes of stories, and memories. They sing.
A poem not too long ago about Field Marshal. Why wasn't it enough? Why don't we just tell the story as it is? That's too simple, no? We wrote a poem. Was that 2 years ago? Maybe 3. Why don't I just tell the story? It's too long, too wild, too tall. What's the beginning? We wrote a poem that, like 3 years ago, 2
Where do we even start?
What's the story everybody else is telling?
Okay.
This is from Wikipedia, edited on 26th January 2020. Muthoni wa Kirima is a retired, top-ranking female fighter in the Kenya Land and Freedom Army of the Mau Mau Uprising in the 1950s. Few Mau Mau women became active fighters.
Wow, what a strange sentence.
Also a whole lie.
A whole lie.
And Muthoni is the only woman to have attained the Mau Mau rank of Field Marshal. Okay. Muthoni wa Kirima was born in 1931 to parents working on a European farm in Kenya's central region. Her journey as a revolutionary started when she was a girl, saving money to fund Jomo Kenyatta's travels abroad.
That's Johnston Kamau.
After her marriage to General Mutungi, she moved to a village reserved for Africans in Nyeri before joining the Mau Mau.
Oh, wait. A village. Reserve. For Africans? In Nyeri? Okay.
What's that? Ay. In her 20s, she worked as a spy for Mau Mau fighters who had camped in the forest when war broke out in 1952. During the war, Muthoni was wounded on 2 occasions. On one, she and 7 other fighters were attacked. She was able to crawl to safety with a gunshot wound in her shoulder, but all the others were killed. Muthoni was never caught in the forest. She moved out of the forest after Kenya gained independence from Britain in 1963. Her husband, General Mutungi, died 2 years later. Field Marshal Muthoni got a license to trade in ivory in 1966, recovering and selling tusks the Mau Mau had buried around Mount Kenya, having hunted elephants for food and ivory during the uprising. Her permission to collect and sell wild ivory ended in 1976 when trade in ivory was banned.
Please take my ivory.
In 1990, she served as a nominated councillor in Nyeri County Council, Central Kenya. In 1998, President Arap Moi awarded her a Medal for Distinguished Service. And in 2014, President Uhuru Kenyatta awarded her the Head of State Commendation. Currently, Muthoni wa Kirima lives in the Nyeri suburb. Kenya is my only child, she told the Daily Nation in an interview in 2012, referencing a miscarriage during her time in the forest which left her unable to conceive. As of 2013, she still has the long dreads that she had grown while hiding from the British. She has said that she will not cut her hair until she sees the benefit of independence. That's what everyone else is telling.
So what memory must we keep? What do we want to say?
What story must we tell?
The truth teller. Sing.
You wrote a poem not too long ago. Let it be your guiding light as you journey through the night. You wrote a poem not too long ago. Let it be your guiding light as you journey through the night. You wrote a poem many years ago. Memory keepers, where is the beginning? Where is the beginning? Where is the beginning? Are you at the beginning?
What's the truth?
Where's the beauty?
Is there freedom?
The whole story is in the poem. The one we wrote about her. For her.
Of course. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima is ours. Nature,
greenery,
the forest, muddy and earth to trees smell.
She gets lost in her thoughts, and the forest responds with a time lapse of plants, trees, earth in its life cycle.
Did that article even speak about the forest?
Barely.
It spoke about the Mau Mau an awful lot in it.
Bloody hell, lass! These Mau Maus are murmuring all over the place.
Actually, you know they've made that a real thing.
No what?
As in, the Webster Dictionary says to Mau Mau is to intimidate through hostile confrontation or threats.
Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima is ours. Nature, greenery, the forest, muddy and earth to tree smell. That's what the poem says.
Those are our words.
The spotlight is on her.
Imagine the earth birthing you. Mud forming your toes, your feet, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your belly, your back, chest, shoulders, arms, neck, chin, cheeks, lips, nose, eyes, forehead, hair. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima was birthed by the earth. It's in the way she walks. It's in the way she breathes in concert with the wind. It's in the way Kirinyaga whispers her name and holds her tail in every blade of grass and every grain of soil. Imagine Kirinyaga, Guy made manifest in every grain of soil, existence. The land recognizes Muthoni. Imagine your body being beaten, bloody into the earth by betrayers. But the land knows it is not your time. So the women come and they heal you. Imagine it not being enough. You can't stay home. The land needs you to fight. So every day you walk. 1 kilometer the first day, 3 kilometers the second, and then 5 kilometers, and then 11, and then 23, and then you're in the forest and you don't go back. And feet begin to better remember home. That was the beginning of Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima's 11 years in the forest.
Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima.
What's the truth? I still don't know. What I do know is the land made Muthoni.
Lights back up on all the memory keepers. That was so seeing time fall away into the forest like that.
I kept looking at the tiny mangoes budding on the tree below, and I could almost see her under that tree. I could feel it weeping. It sounds so silly, but...
No.
Of course not.
Because when you're of it, of course, when you feel pain, it feels pain.
Spotlight on her, and the forest shows flashes. Spotlight on her, and the forest shows flashes of each moment described.
Imagine your body being beaten bloody into the earth by betrayers. And how many times did the land witness her betrayal? The betrayal of being beaten into the earth by the home guards in your own home. The betrayal of the traitor who led her right into the path of the bullet. The betrayal of not being able to bury the others who died that day. The betrayal of the pineapples that allowed themselves to be poisoned. The betrayal of being sent by the new independent government to Ruringo Stadium, where you're told to put down your weapons and go home. Which home? You've been in the forest for over a decade, and when you ask the home guards where do we go, they pick up their guns and point them at you. You who fought for their freedom. Betrayal after betrayal. Still.
The forest dies down, showing a deep, vacuous blackness.
There has to be beauty in there somewhere, because how do you keep going without it?
You know that guy was always with her.
The land was going to protect her.
Betrayal takes so much away from you. This vacuum needs to be filled. So of course it makes sense that the universe would pause at the point of betrayal, stop everything and ask you, what shall I fill you with? You can pick anything. Will it be rage, numbness, delight, pain, wisdom, bitterness? What do you choose? Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirema. What do you choose?
Of course. And she chose
beauty. And so the universe sent her shards of ice to chase away the surrenderers at Ruringo Stadium before they dared pull the trigger. Streams of sweetness to cure their swollen tongues before the poisoned pineapples could kill them. To fill the void, of course, Guy sent her honey. Guy sent her hail.
God sent honey, God sent hail to fill this void in the face of betrayal. Or didn't I? Or didn't I? Oh, I look up to the mountains and I pray for our freedom. I sing, Lord, I'm not your strongest soldier. Don't give me your fiercest woes. She turned to face the mountain, the same hills where Mombi walked. She sang, Guy, please fill the sky with thunder and my heart with strength to fight. Or didn't I? Or didn't I? God sent hail, God sent hail, God sent fire, God sent fire. Give me courage, give me courage. Make me stealthy, make me light. God sent hail, God sent hail, God sent fire, God sent fire. Give me courage, give me courage. Make me healthy, make me bright. This darkness under these trees I call my home. Where is the justice? Colorless frogs haunt us till dawn. Lord, send this darkness. Your beauty follows me even here and fills me up with love and frees me of my fears. God sent honey, God sent hail to fill void in face of all my betrayals. God sent honey, God sent hail to fill this void in the face of all my betrayals.
It is women who made it possible for independence to exist here, but they are not seen because no one is telling the truth about them. Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirema, 28th February 2018, to the memory keepers and the truth teller. Thank you.
Thank you to the production team for their incredible work in making this gala a reality in 2020. Thank you to our partners and our sponsors who helped us to make history with our first ever virtual gala. And thank you to you for supporting Bookbank and for buying a ticket and joining us at a night at the library. Thank you, asanteni sana, and good night.
So when we finished the Kaloleni library,
Digitizing those from 1906 to 2010.
What is that? 24 years.
Memorial Library, Kenya's second oldest library, and 2 of its branches in Kaloleni. Kaloleni.
All right, cut.